Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we are talking about the wonderful Kristin Chenoweth. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please excuse the vertical iPhone footage, but today is a little bit different of an episode than I normally make. Usually I'm talking about guitar-based stuff, and I'm talking about different gear, different pedals, different types of guitars, or guitar-based techniques, or news in the guitar world. But today I kind of just wanted to tell a story. And the story is from a gig that I played back in the summer of 2022 with Kristin Chenoweth. I decided to make this video with Wicked coming out, and it just made me think back to that gig, and I decided, you know what, it's worth it to me to make a video about my experiences playing, some of the scary parts, some of the things that went really well and were really fun, and overall just kind of share my experience with y'all of what it's like to be a professional musician. If you like this kind of stuff and you want to hear more stories about more gigs, feel free to leave a comment down below, like and subscribe so you can find me again. But without further ado, let's get into it. So back in the summer of 2022, I was on vacation, actually on a family vacation, and I got this email. Hi Mac, your name was given to me by a member of our orchestra. I want to see if you would be available for the following services. Let me know. Thanks. Saturday, August 26th, which, mind you, this was Saturday, July 29th, so literally a week beforehand. 1:30 rehearsal, 6 o'clock departure for Park City, 9:50 performance. And right underneath that, it just says Kristin Chenoweth. And it says it was from the director of orchestra personnel for the Utah Symphony and the Utah Opera. So that was wild. So this was my first gig that I played with the Utah Symphony, and I just got this email out of the blue, and I almost didn't see Kristin Chenoweth's name down there at the bottom, but then when I reread it, I said, oh my gosh, this is Kristin Chenoweth. Now a little background on me. I have a degree in jazz guitar and commercial music. I have loved rock and folk and all that sort of music, and even jazz and things like that. And probably what I play most of now is usually blues and rock-based stuff. However, I was raised on musicals. I loved Phantom of the Opera. I went to musicals as a kid growing up, and when Wicked came out in 2003, my older sister and I loved it. When we were little, she would sing all of Elphaba's parts in Defying Gravity, and I would play like all the instruments with my mouth and play like air drums, and I don't know, we were kids, you know? So to see Kristin Chenoweth's name there was kind of crazy, honestly. So I emailed back and I said, yeah, I'd love to be a part of that. What instruments? And they responded with guitar and mandolin. And at the time, I did not own a mandolin. So I immediately, after I got that email back, I called the guitar shop that I was actually working for at the time, and I said, hey, do we happen to have a decent mandolin that has a pickup in it? And they said, yes. And I said, great, I would like to buy it right now. One employee discount and credit card numbers read later, I was now the owner of a mandolin that I could go pick up once I was back in town. I was told I had to go get the music from the hall that the symphony rehearses at on Monday, and so that's what I did. Got back into town on Sunday, went in on Monday, picked up the music, and there were like 30 or 40 charts in there. And so for that next week, I locked myself in my studio and just shed constantly. I'd come out for meals and go back in just because I was stressed, you know? I mean, this was a lot of charts. And I had only just graduated like the year prior from college. So it was earlier in my career. I mean, I'm still pretty early in my career. But anyway, so I practice, find out that I need a tuxedo, la-di-da. We get to the day of the show, get to the rehearsal, and Kristin is running late. So we kind of start running through some things. We actually get a set list for the day, and it's gone from like 30 charts to like 20, 25 charts. And they also tell you that it's very possible that they could add or take away charts before the actual show. So it's a very fluid, chaotic gig. Kristin shows up and she is looking fly. I think she was wearing like a Gucci like workout suit. It wasn't like a track suit all baggy. Like it looked like a matching workout set. She walked in the room and just immediately you could tell she is one of the most wonderful, kind human beings you will ever meet. She is just like that to everyone. She was not a diva. She just was happy to be there. And she talked about how much she loved Utah, which is always funny to me. And we started rehearsing. And it was kind of like set up as like a little jazz combo where there would be a drummer that actually traveled with her. There would be a drummer and then me and a bassist and a piano player. And the piano player would swap out with her musical director as well. So it was kind of a hybrid. She travels with some backup singers and her music director who sometimes conducts, sometimes plays piano, and a drummer. So I was kind of part of this little, rhythm section, and then the rest of the orchestra was kind of backing, I would say. Not to say that they did not have a significant role, because they did. They killed it. Everyone was great. But after the rehearsal, they came up to me and the bassist, who were from Utah, and said, hey, can you guys actually come for a sound check so we can run through some other songs? We're adding more songs that you'll get at that rehearsal. So that's what we did. So I went home, took a quick break, maybe ate some lunch, and then got in the car and drove up to the venue to do sound check. Her drummer got in. There were all sorts of flight mix-ups, and we did a sound check. We got the new song and had more time to spend with Kristin. Again, she was just delightful. Had the opportunity to run over some other stuff. Overall, it was just really, really fun. And even in the sound check, they're of course changing songs, swapping them out, that sort of thing. We get off the stage, people start filing in to see the show, and as we all get back on stage to get Kristin on stage, the musical director leans over and says, here's another song that we're taking out and we're putting this one in. So, very much like fly by the seat of your pants and let's go, let's do it. And of course, I'm a guitarist, so, reading music is not exactly our favorite thing. So I was very grateful for the time that I have spent playing in pit orchestras and reading music. It does come in handy if you're going to do this professionally. I remember as we were sitting there, and I had kind of become friends with the bassist who was sitting next to me, who was an actual member of the Utah Symphony. And I remember kind of sitting there and saying, I'm a little nervous. And he goes, oh, don't worry. Every single person in this orchestra is going to something up tonight. The question is, will anyone notice? And that automatically made me feel a lot better because, you get that imposter syndrome. I've only been out of college for a year and I'm playing in the Utah Symphony now with Kristin Chenoweth. Do I even really deserve to be here? So, of course, there were mishaps. Everyone made little mishaps, but that's okay. We worked through it and no one really noticed. At least I think no one noticed. Could be wrong. Speaking again about Kristin, she is just such an incredible performer. I mean, watching her is a masterclass on the art of performance. At one point, she went and sat in the lap of a violist during another song, which you can see in this video clip here. She hopped up on the piano and sang to like each of the rhythm section people. And she just was she's just a delight to be around. It's not like she knows who I am. I'm not best friends with Kristin Chenoweth, but she makes you feel like she's grateful that you're there, which is something that I can't say for every singer that I've worked with. And for me, the highlight of the evening, and probably what most people want to hear about, was Wicked. First things first, before we get into this, on my Apple Music Wrapped from last year, you know how at the end of the year they tell you what you listen to most and that sort of thing on your streaming services? Well, on my Wrapped, my number one listened to album was the original Broadway recording of Wicked. I don't know why. I love it. It makes me cry every time. It's beautiful. And so having the opportunity to perform with Kristin was, again, a bucket list item and something that I don't even know if anyone else realizes how much it meant to me to be able to do that. I would have paid for the opportunity to do it. So she performed 2 songs from Wicked. Number 1, she performed Popular, because obviously. And then she also performed For Good. She has this habit when she's on tour of whatever city she's in, she usually knows someone in the area. And so she'll have them come and sing Idina Menzel or Elphaba's part along with her. And this happened to be this young man who he absolutely killed it. I think he was like 14 or 15 at the time. And he, I guess, had gone to her summer camp that she does in Oklahoma. That's a Broadway summer camp, and was just such an incredible talent that she wanted to sing with him, and he killed it. It was incredible, and together they were so good. Things about the music from a guitar perspective, the guitar parts were a lot more intricate than I thought they would be, and a lot of times you were doing counter melody stuff, which is kind of interesting because usually guitar takes on either the melody or chords, right? And this was a lot of kind of cool counter melody stuff that I had never had the opportunity to really play before. So it was a lot of fun to play that as well. It was a genuine delight to be able to perform those songs. The last thing I want to talk about is if you are someone who wants to do this professionally, who wants to play guitar professionally, or you play violin and really want to be in an orchestra, this is the advice that I got that led me to this gig. I had someone tell me that if you did your absolute best on every single gig you played, whether the pay was great or terrible, there would always be another gig somewhere down the road from that. And that's actually how I got this gig. The member of the orchestra who recommended me was someone who I last minute subbed for in a big band gig in like 2019, I think. So it was like 3 years prior. He reached out to me the day before the show. I showed up. I got my folder, I played for an hour and a half, and he sent me a check, and that was that, you know? But if you show up on time, you work hard, and you genuinely put in that effort, there will always be another gig. And for me, it led to one of my most cherished memories of being able to perform and back Kristin Chenoweth. I hope I didn't drone on too long. Once again, Kristin Chenoweth, a genuine delight. The members of the Utah Symphony, wonderful, so talented, so kind. Kristin's staff, her drummer, her music director, and her backup singers, also not just incredible musicians, but just as kind as she is. And I think that that's something that's probably more rare than common to find talented and kind musicians to work with. But with all that being said, let me know in the comments down below if you want to hear more stories like this, or if you want me to just go back to all the guitar stuff that I normally talk about. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Go make someone else's day better, and we will see you around.